The phone shattered the midnight silence like a gunshot in an empty cathedral. Elena's hand trembled as she clutched it. Her sister's voice, a ragged whisper from 3 states away, begging, "They're coming for me, El God. They're here." In that instant, the cozy Brooklyn brownstone she'd called home for 5 years felt like a paper fortress, and Elena knew she couldn't wait for dawn. She had to run toward the storm. Rain lashed against the taxi's windshield like accusations, blurring the neon signs of the Holland Tunnel into watery ghosts. Elena Vargas, 32 and still piecing together a life from freelance graphic design gigs and too many unpaid therapy sessions, stared at the dashboard clock. 2:17 a.m. Her sister's words looped in her mind, a cruel earworm. "They're coming for me." Maria had always been the dramatic one, the firecracker who lit up family gatherings with stories of her latest adventure or misadventure. But this was different. No punchline, no laugh to chase the fear. Just a plea, raw and real, from a payphone in some dingy Philly motel. Elena had thrown clothes into a duffel without thinking. Jeans, hoodies, the old switchblade her abuela swore by for city wolves. She'd kissed her cat goodbye, whispered apologies to the stack of bills on the kitchen counter, and bolted. Now, hurtling south on I-95, the Delaware Memorial Bridge loomed like a steel serpent, its lights smearing across the river. Why Philly? Maria had fled there 6 months ago, chasing a dream job at a nonprofit, only to ghost everyone when things soured. "Bad breakup," she'd texted once. "Guys got friends in low places." Elena hadn't pressed. Sisters didn't always need the full story. They just showed up. The cab driver, a grizzled vet named Hank with a faded Eagles tattoo on his forearm, glanced in the rearview. "You sure about this drop-off, miss? That motel's a dive. Rat's bigger than my fist." "I'm sure," Elena said, her voice steadier than she felt. She handed him an extra 20, the last of her cash. "Family emergency." Hank grunted, pulling up to the curb under a flickering sign. "Liberty in vacancy." The place was a squat brick relic from the 70s, its parking lot pocked with puddles and abandoned shopping carts. Elena stepped out into the downpour, hood up, heart hammering. "Room 214, Maria had said. Second floor, end of the hall." The stairs creaked under her boots, each step echoing like a warning. The hallway smelled of stale smoke and regret, doors scarred with locks that wouldn't keep out a determined squirrel. She knocked on 214, 3 sharp raps, and waited. Nothing. Then a shuffle inside, a chain rattling free. The door cracked open, revealing not Maria's wild curls and mischievous grin, but a stranger. A woman about her age, sharp-featured with olive skin and eyes like polished obsidian. She wore a rumpled button-down over yoga pants, hair tied back in a hasty ponytail, one hand gripping the doorframe like it was a lifeline. "Who the hell are you?" she demanded, her voice low, accented with the clipped vowels of South Jersey. "Elena, Maria's sister. She called me. Said she's in trouble." The woman's gaze flicked past Elena to the empty hall, then back, assessing. "Maria's not here. And if she called you, you're walking into the same shitstorm she did." She hesitated, then swung the door wider. "Get in before you draw attention." Elena stepped inside, dripping rainwater onto threadbare carpet. The room was a chaos of half-packed suitcases, takeout containers, and a laptop glowing with what looked like encrypted files. No Maria, just this woman, Jade. She introduced herself curtly, pacing like a caged panther. "She's gone," Jade said, sinking onto the bed's edge. "Bolted about an hour ago. Left me this." She tossed Elena a crumpled note. "Jay, they're on to us. Get out. Tell Elle to turn back. Love, M." Elena's stomach twisted. "Onto us? What the fuck does that mean? Who's they?" Jade's laugh was bitter, devoid of humor. "The kind of people who don't like loose ends. Maria worked for me undercover, sort of. I'm a reporter. We were digging into a corruption ring. City council, developers, the works. Philly's underbelly, baby. Bribes, blackmail, bodies if you push too hard." Elena blinked, the pieces slotting in like a nightmare puzzle. Maria, the aspiring journalist, had always chased truth like a drug. But this? And you just let her. I didn't let her do anything. She chose it. We both did. Jade's eyes softened for a flicker, then hardened again. Look, I get it. You're the protective big sis, charging in like a knight. But knights get skewered. You need to go home. No. Elena's voice cracked, but she held Jade's stare. She's my blood. I'm not leaving without her. A beat of silence, thick as the humid air. Then headlights swept the window blinds, slow, deliberate. Jade froze, yanking Elena down behind the bed. Shit, that's them. Through the slats, Elena glimpsed a black SUV idling in the lot, two figures emerging. Broad-shouldered men in dark coats, scanning the building like wolves scenting prey. One lit a cigarette, the cherry glowing red as sin. Back exit, Jade whispered, grabbing a backpack. Service stairs. Move. They slipped out the rear door into an alley reeking of garbage and desperation. The rain had eased to a drizzle, turning the world slick and treacherous. Elena's pulse thundered in her ears as they darted between dumpsters, the SUV's engine rumbling to life behind them. Left, Jade hissed, shoving Elena toward a chain-link fence. They vaulted it, landing in a vacant lot overgrown with weeds. Footsteps pounded, close, too close. Elena's lungs burned, but Jade's hand clamped her wrist, pulling her into a sprint across cracked asphalt toward the Schuylkill River Trail. They didn't stop until they hit a 24-hour diner on the waterfront, its fluorescent buzz a beacon in the gloom. Slipping into a booth at the back, they ordered coffee, black, no sugar, to blend in. Elena's hands shook as she wrapped them around the mug, steam rising like unanswered questions. "Who are those guys?" she finally asked. Jade leaned in, voice barely above the sizzle of the grill. "Councilman Hale's muscle. He's knee-deep in a land grab, turning public parks into condos for his cronies. Maria and I had proof, emails, recordings, but someone flipped. Maybe a source, maybe." She trailed off, jaw tightening. "You?" Elena couldn't help it. Suspicion coiled in her gut. Jade's eyes flashed. "Me? I stuck my neck out for her. We were partners, in the story, I mean." A flush crept up her neck, gone as quick as it came. She trusted me. Until tonight. Elena's mind reeled. Partners. The word hung heavy, laced with implications she wasn't ready to unpack. Maria had mentioned Jade once. A colleague, voice softening on the word. Now, here they were, two strangers bound by a ghost, hiding from shadows in a greasy spoon where truckers nursed hangovers and night shift nurses swapped war stories. The coffee turned bitter on her tongue. "We find her. Together." Jade studied her, then nodded once. Sharp. "All right, Vargas. But if we're doing this no hero bullshit, we play smart." Outside, the river murmured secrets to the city lights, and in that fragile alliance, something stirred, unseen, unspoken. A spark in the dark, fragile as a late-night promise. As dawn crept over the skyline, painting the Benjamin Franklin Bridge in hesitant pinks, Elena and Jade slipped into a nondescript sedan Jade had stashed nearby, a beater with New Jersey plates and a glove box full of burner phones. "Plan A, Maria's safe house," Jade said, punching coordinates into her phone. "Old warehouse in Fishtown." She mentioned it once, in case things went south. The drive wound through Philly's underbelly. Row houses sagging like tired boxers, murals of forgotten revolutionaries splashed across brick. Elena watched the city unfold, a patchwork of grit and glory, the Liberty Bell's shadow mingling with SEPTA trains rattling like urban veins. She'd visited Maria here once, back when optimism still clung to her sister like morning dew. Now it felt like trespassing on a crime scene. Jade drove with one hand on the wheel, the other drumming the door panel, a rhythm that betrayed nerves she wouldn't voice. "You too close?" she asked, breaking the silence. "Like bookends?" Elena replied, staring at her reflection in the side mirror. Dark circles under hazel eyes, a smudge of mascara from the rain. She was the bold one. I held the fort. Jade's lips quirked. "Sounds familiar. My brother's the same. Charges ahead. Leaves me to clean up. Family, huh? Elena managed a half-smile. Felt foreign, like stretching a scar. The warehouse squatted on the edge of the Delaware, its windows boarded like blind eyes. They parked a block away, approaching on foot through knee-high grass. The air hummed with distant traffic and the low whine of gulls. Jade picked the rusted lock with a paperclip, skills Elena didn't ask about, and they eased inside. Dust motes danced in shafts of light piercing the gloom. Crates stamped Philly shipyards, 1987 loomed like silent sentinels. Maria! Elena called softly, voice swallowed by echoes. A rustle from the shadows. Then Maria burst from behind a pallet, wild-eyed and tear-streaked. "Elle! Oh God, you came!" She crashed into Elena's arms, sobbing. I didn't know if you'd." "Shoo, it's okay." Elena held her tight, inhaling the familiar scent of vanilla shampoo mixed with fierce sweat. But over Maria's shoulder, she caught Jade's expression. Relief warring with something sharper, like betrayal's aftertaste. Maria pulled back, wiping her face. "Jade, you brought her? That's reckless." Jade cut in, arms crossed. "But here we are. What's the play now? Hale's goons won't stop at one motel." Maria glanced between them, guilt etching lines on her young face. "I have the drive, the files, hidden here. But we need to get it to my editor in D.C. tonight." Elena's blood chilled. D.C.? That meant highways crawling with risks, backroads riddled with what-ifs. "We're not running blind. We need a plan." As they huddled over a makeshift map sketched on a crate lid, voices low and urgent, the warehouse felt less like sanctuary and more like a pressure cooker. Maria's hand brushed Jade's. A fleeting touch, loaded with history Elena could only guess at. Jealousy? No, not that. Worry, maybe, for the woman who'd pulled her sister into this web. By midday, they'd hatched it. Split up, reconvene at a bus station in Wilmington by dusk. Elena with Maria to fetch the drive. Jade to scout a route south, drawing any tails. "Divide and distract," Jade said, her dark eyes locking on Elena's. "Watch each other's backs." The words lingered as they parted. Maria and Elena melting into the afternoon bustle of Fishtown's cafes. Jade vanishing into the river haze. Elena's chest ached with the weight of it all. Love for her sister. A grudging trust in this stranger who'd upended her world. Little did she know, the real fracture was just beginning. The bus station in Wilmington smelled of diesel and despair. A Greyhound hub where dreams boarded for cheaper destinations. Elena scanned the crowd from a bench. Transients with duffels, families with fretful kids. A lone businessman tapping his phone like a Morse code SOS. Maria sat beside her, knees bouncing, the USB drive burning a hole in her jacket pocket. "She'll make it," Elena murmured, more to convince herself. 20 minutes late, Jade appeared, disheveled. A fresh scrape on her cheek blooming purple. "Took a detour. Your sister's ex has friends everywhere." She dropped onto the bench, breath ragged. "SUV tailed me from the bridge. Lost them in traffic, but they're closing in." Maria's face paled. "Tommy? That bastard. I told you he was bad news." Jade shot her a look, hurt flickering before Steele returned. "Yeah, well, newsflash, he sold us out to Hale for a payout. Your knight in shining armor's got blood on the ledger." Elena tensed, the air thickening with unspoken accusations. Tommy, the guy from the breakup texts. Maria had downplayed him as a charming editor, all smiles and late-night pitches. Now the truth slithered out. He'd been Hale's plant from the start, feeding them just enough rope to hang themselves. "We can't take the bus," Elena said, standing. "Too exposed. My car's in long-term parking at the airport, rental untraceable." Jade nodded. "Smart. I'll drive first shift. You two catch some Z's." The airport run was a blur of highway hypnosis. Billboards hawking casinos and crab cakes. The Susquehanna River glinting like fool's gold under a bruised sky. Elena rode shotgun, Maria dozing in the back, while Jade gripped the wheel like a confession. "She talk about me?" Jade asked, voice casual but eyes on the mirrors. "Once or twice." Elena chose her words like landmines. Said you were brilliant. Intense. Jade snorted. Intense. Code for pain in the ass. We clashed on everything. Ethics, angles, coffee strength. A pause. Heavy. But Maria, she grounded me, made the fight feel worth it. Elena glanced back. Maria stirred, murmuring in sleep. You love her. It wasn't a question. Jade's swallow was audible. Loved. Past tense. She made it clear, friends, colleagues. Nothing more. The words landed like gravel, and Elena felt an unwelcome pang. Not pity, but recognition. How many times had she buried her own heart for the sake of safety? Night fell as they crossed into Maryland. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge a ribbon of steel over black water. Elena took the wheel, Jade navigating via a battered atlas. Maria chattered to fill the voids. Stories of their abuela's tamales, Elena's failed art school dreams. Laughter bubbled up, fragile as foam, but it knit them closer. A makeshift family forged in flight. Then, the ambush. Taillights flaring in the rearview, a pickup roaring up fast. Floor it! Jade yelled, twisting to grab a tire iron from the trunk pass-through. Elena punched the gas, the old Civic protesting with a whine. The bridge's lanes narrowed, guardrails gleaming like teeth. The pickup rammed them, metal screeching, Elena's world tilting. She swerved, tires hydroplaning on dew-slick asphalt. Maria screamed from the back. Get off at the exit! Jade shouted, window down, hurling the iron. It clanged harmlessly off the grill, but the distraction bought seconds. Elena veered onto a service road, plunging into pine thickets where moonlight barely pierced. The pickup overshot, brake squealing. Branches whipped the windows as Elena navigated blind, heart in her throat. Lost him? She gasped. For now. Jade panted, adrenaline carving hollows in her cheeks. Pull over, check the damage. They limped to a clearing, the car hissing steam like an injured beast. Maria climbed out, trembling, and vomited into the underbrush. Elena held her hair back, murmuring nonsense comforts, while Jade popped the hood, cursing under her breath. In the quiet aftermath, as crickets chorused and stars wheeled overhead, Jade approached Elena by the bumper. You handled that like a pro. Where'd a Brooklyn girl learn to drive like that? Defensive driving class. And too many cop shows. Elena wiped sweat from her brow. You. Beat reporting in Jersey. Chases come with the territory. Jade's grin was ghost thin. Thanks for not panicking. Wouldn't dream of it. Their eyes met, and the air hummed. Not with danger, but something softer, electric. Elena looked away first, busying herself with Maria, but the spark lingered, warm against the chill. They patched the car with duct tape and prayers, pushing south into Virginia's rolling hills. Dawn brought motels with vacancy signs and diners slinging hash. Over pancakes in a Roanoke booth, Maria spilled more. Tommy's charm masking a temper, his connections to Hale's machine. I thought I could handle it, she admitted, fork stabbing syrup. Play the game, expose the rot. You almost did, Jade said gently, no trace of the earlier bite. We almost did. Elena's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Turn back, or the sisters next. Her blood iced. They know about me. Jade's face darkened. How? Maria's eyes widened. Tommy. He must have seen my phone history. Calls to you, L. Betrayal's knife twisted deeper. Not just a leak, but personal. A violation of the sisterly bond Elena had guarded like a flame. We keep moving, she said, voice steel. DC's close. Editor gets the files, it's over. But as they hit the beltway, traffic clotting like clotting blood, doubt crept in. Jade's hand brushed Elena's on the gearshift, an accidental anchor steadying. Hey, we're in this. Yeah, Elena whispered. We are. The editor's office was a nondescript townhouse in Georgetown, blinds drawn against prying eyes. They arrived at noon. The USB surrendered with handshakes and hushed promises. This breaks tomorrow's front page. Relief washed over them like cool rain, but it was short-lived. As they stepped onto the cobblestone street, a van idled curbside, Hale's mark, a silver eagle decal glinting. Run! Maria yelled, but Jade was already moving, yanking them into an alley. Cobblestones slick with autumn leaves. They dodged tourists and delivery bikes, lungs burning. The van's door slid open, disgorging shadows. They burst onto M Street, blending into a lunch crowd outside a bistro. Elena's arm throbbed where a pursuer had grazed her. Jade's lips split from a glancing fist. Maria sobbed quietly. I'm sorry. For all of it. Not your fault, Elena panted, pulling her close. But whose was it? Tommy's? Hale's? Or the ambition that blinded them all? Jade flagged a cab, bundling them inside. Back to the car. Then, home. Home. The word tasted like freedom, but Elena caught Jade's gaze in the passing window's reflection. Wary, yearning. As deceased monuments blurred by, Elena realized the danger hadn't just stolen their safety. It had cracked open doors to truths long locked away. The drive north was a gauntlet of ghosts. Every semi a threat, every rest stop a potential trap. They swapped drivers and shifts, radio tuned to static-laced classic rock. Springsteen crooning about thunder roads, a soundtrack to their frayed nerves. Elena nursed a black coffee at a Maryland welcome center, watching Jade and Maria whisper by the vending machines. Laughter, tentative, real, drifted over, twisting something in her chest. Jealousy? No. Elena had never been the possessive type. More like the ache of exclusion, the sisterly spotlight shifting to this interloper who'd shared Maria's secrets, her risks. As Jade slung an arm around Maria's shoulders, casual, protective, Elena turned away, pretending to study a rack of tourist brochures. Visit Assateague. Wild ponies await. If only escape were so simple. By nightfall, they crossed the Mason-Dixon, Pennsylvania's farmland unfolding like a quilt of amber waves. Jade drove, her profile etched in dashboard glow. Pull off here, she said at a sign for a state park. We need cover. Hale's network thins out in the sticks. The cabin was a ranger outpost, drafty, with a stone fireplace and bunks that sagged like old regrets. They barbecued hot dogs over a fire pit, flames snapping secrets into the starry vault. Maria, ever the storyteller, regaled them with Abuela tales. The time she chased a purse snatcher with a rolling pin in East L.A., or cursed a cheating mechanic with such vigor he fixed the carburetor for free. Jade chuckled, marshmallow goo on her chin. Sounds like my nana, Jersey Italian, meaner than a cornered cat. Elena smiled faintly, poking the fire. Ours was Cuban firebrand. Taught us to fight dirty and love fierce. The words hung, inviting. Jade met her eyes across the flames. Fierce, huh? That's you. Charging into Philly like a hurricane. More like a fool, Elena admitted. But family. Maria yawned, stretching. I'm beat. Bunk's calling. She hugged Elena goodnight. Then Jade. Lingering a beat too long. The door clicked shut, leaving the fire's crackle and the weight of solitude. Jade tossed another log on, sparks ascending like prayers. She's tough, your sister. But this, it's breaking her. You too. Elena saw it now. The cracks in Jade's armor, the way her hands trembled when she thought no one noticed. Jade shrugged. Comes with the job. Dig too deep, you bleed. She paused, voice softening. What about you? Brooklyn graphic designer doesn't scream adrenaline junkie. Elena traced patterns in the dirt with her boot. I design logos for nonprofits, causes that matter but safe. Maria's the one who runs toward the fire. Me? I stay put, keep the lights on. A laugh, self-deprecating. Until tonight. Their knees brushed as Jade shifted closer. Glad you did. The admission was quiet, but it landed like thunder. Elena's breath caught, the air between them charged, alive. Jade's hand covered hers, warm, tentative. Elena! The kiss was inevitable, born of exhaustion and embers. Soft at first, then deepening with the hunger of the hunted. Jade tasted of smoke and salt, her fingers threading Elena's hair like a lifeline. Time fractured minutes or hours, until Maria's cough from the doorway shattered it. They sprang apart, guilt flushing their faces. Maria stood silhouetted, arms crossed. Well, this is new. Jade stammered. It's not. Save it. Maria's voice cracked. Not anger, but hurt. I saw how you looked at her in the car. The way you didn't look at me. Tears welled. All this time I thought, maybe, but you chose safe. Like Tommy did. Elena's heart splintered. Maria, no. This isn't. Betrayal? Maria spat, whirling. Feels like it. From both of you. She stormed inside, slamming the door. The fire sputtered, mocking their silence. Jade buried her face in her hands. Fuck, I ruined it. Elena reached for her but pulled back. We did. But running from truth? That's what got us here. Dawn brought frost on the pumpkins and frostier words. Maria emerged tight-lipped, packing with mechanical precision. Files are out. Story drops tomorrow. We're done. Jade tried. Let me explain. No. Maria's eyes, red-rimmed, fixed on Elena. You two deserve each other. The cowards who wait while the world burns. The drive to Philly was a tomb. Radio off, windows down to let wind scour the tension. They dropped Maria at a train to New York. I'll crash with a friend, she said, avoiding eyes. Then, alone, Elena and Jade faced the wreckage. She hates me, Jade whispered, merging onto 95. She hates the hurt. Elena's throat ached. Give her time. But time was a luxury. As the skyline pierced the horizon, Elena's phone lit. A voicemail from an unknown. Maria's voice. Frantic. They got me again. Warehouse District. Help. Horror clawed Elena's gut. Turn around. Jade floored it, tires screaming. Back through the sprawl. To the river's edge where derelict buildings hulkied like beached whales. They screeched into the district, headlights cutting fog. The warehouse Maria named loomed, doors ajar. Inside chaos. Maria bound to a chair, Tommy looming with a pistol. Hale's other enforcer, a slab of a man, cracking knuckles. Ladies, Tommy sneered. Join the party. Jade lunged, but the enforcer clotheslined her, slamming her against crates. Elena dodged, grabbing a loose pipe, adrenaline surging as she swung wild. It connected with the goon's knee. He howled, crumpling. Tommy spun, gun wavering. You bitch! Maria kicked out, toppling her chair into him. Elena pounced, wrenching the weapon free. Drop it! Sirens wailed, distant, closing. The editor's story must have hit, cops swarming. Tommy bolted, enforcer limping after. Jade untied Maria, who collapsed into sobs. Not of fear, but release. You came, Maria whispered to Elena. Always. But as paramedics swarmed and statements flowed, Jade hung back, shadow in the strobe lights. Their eyes met across the fray. Apology, ache. The betrayal wasn't just Tommy's. It was the fracture in their triangle, the love that bloomed in cracks. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and second chances, fluorescent hum underscoring the beep of monitors. Maria lay in a curtained bay, bruised but unbroken, for dripping fluids like absolution. Elena sat vigil, holding her hand, while Jade paced the hall. Persona non grata after Maria's icy glare. Story's gold, Maria said weakly, scrolling news on her phone. Philly Inquirer. Councilman Hale indicted in massive corruption scandal. We did it, Elle. We. Elena squeezed her fingers. You did. Jade too. Maria's smile faltered. Jade. God, I was such an idiot. Thought she felt what I did. Pushed her away before she could reject me. Elena's chest tightened. She cares. Deeply. But not like that. Maria's eyes searched hers. And you? That kiss by the fire. Heat crept up Elena's neck. It happened. Doesn't erase you. Maria laughed. Wince-pained. Sisters first, always. But maybe. Let yourself feel it. Life's too short for safe. Discharge came at dawn. Cab to a safe house courtesy of Maria's editor. A cozy row home in Queen Village. Jade waited outside, duffel slung, expression guarded. I'll head back to Jersey. Loose ends. Maria stepped forward, awkward. Wait, I'm sorry for the blow-up. You deserved better. Jade's throat worked. I deserved honesty. From all of us. A beat. Take care, kid. As Jade turned, Elena caught her arm. Don't. Not yet. The walk to the corner deli was tentative. Coffee and bagels, steam curling in crisp air. They sat on a bench overlooking the Schuylkill, joggers pounding paths, leaves carpeting the trail in crimson confessionals. I betrayed her trust, Jade said finally, crumbling a muffin, pushing boundaries when she was vulnerable. Elena nodded, and I stepped into the void. Selfish. Human. Jade's hand found hers again, deliberate. Question is, what now? The story broke wide that afternoon. Hale arrested in a raid, developers scattering like roaches. Maria's byline shown, her phone buzzing with offers, podcasts, book deals. She texted Elena, go live a little. I got this. Freedom tasted like possibility. That evening, Elena and Jade wandered Rittenhouse Square, strings of lights twinkling in dogwoods. Buskers strummed folk tunes. Couples strolled arm in arm. Philly suits you, Elena said, bumping Jade's shoulder. You think. Jade grinned, genuine. Brooklyn girls rubbing off. They paused by the fountain, water murmuring benedictions. Jade's voice dropped. I don't do this feelings fragility. Last time I let someone in, it ended in flames. Elena traced the scar on Jade's knuckle. Bar fight? Byline brawl? Flames forge things stronger. The kiss this time was unhurried, under a canopy of stars. Tender, exploratory, laced with the romance of survivors. No shadows chased them, just the quiet bloom of what might be. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Elena splitting time between Brooklyn gigs and Philly visits. Jade's apartment a sunlit haven overlooking the art museum. Steps from the rocky stairs, where they jog at sunrise, laughing through gasps. Maria healed, her own spark reigniting with therapy and tentative dates. Tell Jade she's family now, she'd say, winking. The messy kind. Betrayal's scar faded, not gone but gilded. Tommy's trial a footnote, Hale's empire crumbled. Elena designed the Inquirer's commemorative spread, bold lines, unapologetic colors, while Jade chased leads on a new expose, this one on housing inequities. Partners, Jade asked one night, over takeout tie on her fire escape. In crime, Elena teased. In everything. Jade's eyes held galaxies, vulnerable, vast. The fragile love took root, watered by late calls and shared silences, growing toward something enduring. Not fairy tale perfect, but American true. Gritty, graceful, alive with the pulse of a city that never sleeps. One autumn evening, as leaves swirled like confetti, they stood on the Delaware's bank, where it began in rain and resolve. Maria joined, arm linked with Elena's, the three a constellation unbroken. To loose ends tied, Maria toasted with a thermos of sangria. To new stories, Jade added, clinking cups. Elena smiled, heart full. To us. In the end, danger hadn't destroyed. It had distilled them raw, real, reaching. And in America's vast, flawed tapestry, that was redemption enough. Love not as escape, but as the quiet courage to stay.